It's Sunday evening now here at Blanco Lario Global Headquarters, the 9th of February. We've been covering some hard landings today out at Heathrow Airport, but this one takes the cake. This happened just today in Russia. Check out a 737 that just creams the landing gear right out from underneath it. From the Aviation Herald, here's some of the details that we know so far. UTAir Boeing 737-500 in Usinsk, U-S-I-N-K, Usinsk, on 9 February 2020 landed short of the runway, gear collapse, and runway excursion on landing. A UTAir Boeing 737-500 performing flight as UT Flight 535 from Moscow to Usinsk, with 94 passengers and 6 crew, was on final approach to runway 13 at Usinsk at about 12:21 local, 0921Z, but touched down hard about 15 meters ahead of the paved surface, so he touched down short of the runway, and went through heaps of snow, it says here on Aviation Herald. Both main gear struts collapsed. The aircraft skidded on its nose gear and belly to a standstill on the runway, causing damage to a wing, resulting in a fuel spill. No fire broke out. The passengers evacuated via slides and overwing exits. The aircraft received substantial damage. There are claims of 1 or 2 injured passengers. So check out this video and then I'll get back with a couple of comments.
Ой, аккуратно.
Прям садитесь.
Хорошо?
Садитесь, не стойте.
Спасибо. Ой-ой-ой, теперь
Опа.
Все.
Ребята, я жив. Охренеть.
All in all, it sounds like a fairly orderly evacuation. A little slippery there on the tarmac, but here you can see the main landing gear completely collapsed towards the rear of the aircraft, and the aircraft sitting on the engine nacelles with the thrust reversers deployed. It's a good thing folks brought their jackets, as the outside air temperature is about minus 23 Celsius. There's the fuel spill on the ice, and the thrust reversers deployed. One thing about my friends in Russia is you guys are tough. You handle this like another day at the office of flying there in Russia. Now, of particular interest is the NOTAMs, the Notice to Airmen's, that both the ILS, the Instrument Landing System, and the approach runway lights for runway 13 were not operative. The approach runway lights. Well, okay. It doesn't say anything about the PAPI, but anyways, without the ILS, the pilot doesn't have his normal instrument landing system glide slope in place. And then there's another set of lights usually called PAPI lights, or precision approach guidance lights, to give you your glide slope guidance. If those lights were out, the pilot would have no glide slope guidance to get that good 3-degree glide path going to the end of the runway. In other words, this pilot was on his own to do a visual approach in snowy conditions. And looking at the video, it appears to me that he's coming in way too hot, very fast, at a very fast speed. It looks like this might be a flaps 15 approach, in other words, a less than full flap approach. The winds look fine at the time. The winds were, let's see, 150 degrees. He's landing on runway 13, only 20 degrees off, at 11 knots, gusting to 20 knots. Temperature minus 21 degrees. So the winds were not much of a factor, but yet he's coming in what appears to me very hot, and he lands short of the runway, just creams the main gear off of it, and then check out what they have to say over here on behalf of the airline. UTAir says that a sharp, unpredictable wind shear occurred during the landing and that the landing gear collapsed while the aircraft was on the runway. Quote, owing to the prompt and highly professional actions of the crew, the aircraft was able to be kept on the runway until it stopped completely, the airline says. It's pretty hard to steer the aircraft without any main landing gear underneath it. It says the crew was experienced, with the captain having logged 6,900 hours on type and the first officer 3,600 hours. 94 passengers were on board, one of whom sought medical attention for a minor injury. So, the hazards of landing short, especially in snowy conditions. As we get more information, we'll let you know. See you here. Thanks for watching. Try to keep the shiny side up, boys. Been too busy here lately.